Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. You are tuned in to Ramadan FM 2018. This is a show, Al Minhaj Institute. My name is Ikra Ali and I will be your host today. Along with me today, I have some other fellow students from Al Minhaj Institute. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hira and I study in Al Minhaj Institute.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Yasmin. I am a student of Al Minhaj Institute as well.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Khadija. I'm also a student at Al Minhaj Institute.
They're all up. Sorry, could I just request sisters to speak into the mic so we're just a bit more louder? Please, sorry. Okay, so starting off, today's topic that we've decided to discuss is modesty and haya. I think it's a really interesting topic, and it has the focus on both men and women, but we'll mostly be discussing the focus on women today, but we might slightly touch upon the modesty and haya of men as well, but we'll try to focus on the woman side of it. Could I start off by having someone explain, so what is modesty and haya? What definition would you guys give to it?
Modesty is the behavior and how a person dresses.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's how they dress.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think modesty is normally always associated with how you dress, but it's also in terms of speech and behavior of an individual as well. And yeah.
Modesty is a root word derived from Latin word modestus, which literally means keeping within limits or measures.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a beautiful definition of it. Just like Sister Khadija said before, so it's not just focused on the way you're dressed. It's also focused on your behavior and the language and the way you speak to people. So, of course, I think we're all hijabis here. We all wear. So, just before I come onto the actual hijab, coming back onto the whole modesty bit. So we know hijab is part of modesty. What else would you consider? For example, if there was a sister, she was Muslim, but she didn't wear the hijab, would you still say she's modest, or she's not considered modest? Or what sort of ways can she, is modesty still, there?
I think the hijab is important, but not entirely important. I think that a person's inside should be clean. And
absolutely,
it doesn't matter if you wear a scarf or not, as long as you have an idea about what modesty actually is.
With the covering your head and the modesty, it's normally associated with covering your head. And for covering your head in the Quran, I think there's actually 9 different words which are used. And one of these words which are used in Surah number 24, Surah An-Nur, says himar, which means veil and shawl. And this word is normally associated with just women. However, himar was actually thought of something which men used to wear, and it was the name of their turban which they used to wear on their head, and it used to come down to up to as in their belly. And this was a word which was used for both men and women, showing just how it means for men and women. But also, if you look at the background behind this as well, women before in the past, they used to wear like this headpiece, and it used to flow backwards. And then this ayah was revealed, and it was basically saying that the headpiece that flows behind, you should be brought in front, and it should be used to cover your front as well. So I think if your question was about modesty, if you're not actually wearing the hijab on your head, I think first of all it should be covering and wearing modest clothing, and then the second step to that would be wearing the head garment, which is known as the hijab. Yeah.
But modesty should be both inner and outer modesty for both Muslimah and Muslim.
Yeah.
It is reflected in behavior, speech, and appearance, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely it is. So the way we speak to other people, how we show ourselves to other people. So we're, in not just in our state of being clean, and also representing ourselves with the language we use.
Yeah.
That's also part of modesty under hijab as well.
I have a Quran ayat that will support my statement. According to chapter 33, Surat Al-Ahzab, the Confederates, verse 59, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals upon his messenger, peace be upon him, O Prophet, say to your wives, your daughters, and the women of the believers that whilst going out they should draw their veils as covering over them. So, I mean, obviously, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also emphasizing that a veil differentiates between a noble lady, a Muslimah, and a non-Muslim, an immodest lady.
Absolutely, that does, absolutely. MashaAllah, subhanAllah, that's a beautiful quote. So coming on to the next question, I just wanted to ask, why do you, so we have sort of slightly touched on this, why is the hijab worn?
I think the hijab want to protect and like it kind of protects them from this is kind of like a sensitive topic, so I don't really want to hurt or like
but we understand what you're saying. So it's sort of a protection, a guard, something to protect the woman. But I feel, well, that's how I feel personally as well. When I'm wearing the hijab, I feel more safer when I'm wearing the hijab, and compared to, well, if I hadn't.
I think the word hijab, it actually does mean barrier as well. The original term, it is barrier, and then it was just coined as hijab was just coined for the clothing on their head. But if you actually look at the meaning of hijab, it just means barrier. So it means in terms of, it's a physical barrier from your head and other people seeing this, but also it's a barrier from, you know, in the sense, a barrier can be anything, as in the wall or anything. And if you think about the meaning behind it as well, it's telling you that it's this mechanism of protection as well for an individual. So it's there and it's put in place therefore in protection of a woman as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, in Islam, we shouldn't reveal our hair to non-mahrams.
Of course,
non-mahram are people that we can be married to, brothers, uncles, dad. These are the relationships we can uncover our hair and show it to them, even our brothers or brothers' sons. According to chapter 24, Surah An-Nur, the light, verse 31, is clearly mentioned in there, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned which relationships we can regard as mahrams. Like it says here that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals to his messenger and direct the believing women that they must keep their eyes lowered and guard their chastity, and must not show off their adornments and beautification, except that which becomes visible itself, and they must keep their veils, headscarves drawn over their chests. So absolutely. I mean, if we go further,
sorry to just interrupt the sister. I think we all need to just move a bit more closer to the mic, I feel, so they can hear us a little better.
If we go further and study this beautiful ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and he reveals on his messenger that they must not display their adornments to anyone except their husbands or their sons or the sons of their sons or their brothers or the sons of their brothers. So according to these words, there are certain relations, as I said earlier. To summarize it, we are allowed to uncover our hair
too.
So hijab is very important for a Muslimah. We are ambassadors of Islam as well.
It is. Having the hijab on your head I think is quite a big responsibility. It's not just, I'm just covering myself, I'm just wearing it for your own protection. That's true as well, but you're, like Baji said, you're ambassadors of Islam. You have responsibilities. When people see you, you portray, you show yourself, I'm from this religion, which is Islam. And of course the intentions behind wearing the hijab as well are extremely important.
But I think that's a great point by Baji Yasmin, because people that aren't very aware of the hijab and don't know what it's actually there for, I feel as though they have this misconception that we as Muslims aren't allowed to take it off at any point. I don't know about you guys, but I've actually been asked if we take the hijab off during having a shower. I was like, of course we do. It's just like, it's nice. The hijab is just there for people who don't have these blood-like relationships.
Yeah, like Baji said, there's certain people where we're able to take the hijab off. So it's not something where it's just wrapped around our heads and, you know, we have to keep it on 24/7. Of course, we do take it off at times.
Yeah, we do hear like silly questions sometimes from non-Muslims.
Yeah.
I
mean, sorry, do you guys want to share what sort of questions have you had from people?
I've come across certain brothers and on certain events saying that they get this a lot of attention and questioning from non-believers, like non-Muslims, that can we ask you a question? I hope you don't get offended.
They always say that in first,
then after a while, when they feel comfortable, they ask the question that have you seen your wife's hair?
You know, I mean,
there's a reasoning behind wearing the hijab. It's not there for every single
but person. I feel like it's a good thing that they is to ask questions, because if there's something you're curious about or you don't understand, the only way you're actually going to understand it and clear that is by asking questions. So
I think that we should educate different people about the actual role of the hijab, so they understand. And from that, because Islam is portrayed in a different way across like media and stuff, and if we educate people, they'll understand the true meaning of a hijab.
Absolutely.
I think that's true, because I feel as though personally as well, like friends and people I know, they don't actually themselves, they wear the hijab, they don't actually know the reasoning behind it. And some people have even come up to me and told me how they've been forced to wear the hijab upon them. And I've seen from personal experiences that just results in them taking it off eventually. So instead of actually for parents to force it upon their child, I think, like for me, I personally know I was taught why you wear it and what the purpose is behind it. And for me, that has made me have the choice. And I know hopefully I'm never going to want to take the hijab off, because I've learned from why you wear it. So I think parents should take that step, and they should also teach the child the reasoning behind the hijab instead of just forcing it upon them.
I also agree with Sister Khadija. What do you guys sisters think? So I think the parents should teach them, so at the age of maybe not too young, but when the child is sort of maturing and understanding, they can allow the child to wear the hijab and practice and experience how they feel. But I don't think personally the child should be told that you have to wear the hijab, because at the end of the day, everything we do comes to our intentions, our niyat. And if your intention and your niyat is not right, then there's not really a point of, doing something at the end of the day.
I think it depends on the upbringing in the family environment as well. And it's mainly responsibility of a mother to introduce these modesty values.
I think I agree. Well. Sort of introducing them as the first step.
I mean, I remember at an early age, my late mother, she used to tell me off. I was around about 10 or 11. I didn't have any concept of this modesty or covering up at that time. And whenever someone came from outside, like my uncle or even mahrams, even just for a sign of respect, I had to cover up my head, put a dupatta on.
Absolutely. That's the first sort of steps. I think we have a call on the line. We'll just take this call. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, sister. This is Vesha calling from London.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Hello, assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I don't think we can hear you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Sorry, we were having a few difficulties there. We can hear you now. How are you, sister? And where are you calling from?
I'm okay, alhamdulillah. I'm calling from London, and this is Zarvesha.
Assalamu alaikum, sister Zarvesha. How are you?
Alaikum salam. I'm okay, alhamdulillah. How are you? MashaAllah, you guys are doing a very, very good show.
Thank you very much. Jazakallah.
And I think Baji Yasmin's points are really good. In fact, all of you guys are doing really, really well, mashallah. So well done.
Thank you.
I have a sort of a question for you.
Absolutely.
I've heard this phrase where people say that Islam teaches to cover, not to wrap.
Okay, so Islam teaches us to cover,
not to wrap.
Okay, yeah.
Not to wrap. So, what do you guys think about that? And if you want, you can expand on it, maybe.
Okay. That's fine. Thank you
you
for calling in. And
no worries.
we'll
And well done
question.
again, mashallah. You're doing really well.
Thank you. Jazakallah. Thank you.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
I feel like it's always really nice to get other sisters and other listeners who are tuned in to sort of encourage and participate as well, because it makes us feel like, so sorry, should we answer Sister Zaresh's questions before we move on? So
it's good to Islam says you should cover, not to wrap. I completely agree with this, because Islam, if you look at the wisdom behind the hijab as well, it doesn't necessarily mean where some people interpret it as not necessarily wearing the actual physical garment on your head. Some people interpret it in different ways, but I feel as though before even wearing the hijab, like personally, I don't know about you, but I feel as though there's no point of wearing the hijab if you're going to be wearing very explicit clothing and everything. So before even wearing the hijab, I feel as though that's a personal choice one should take. But before even doing that, it's just nice to see someone dressed modestly. I know.
Sorry, could I just the mic a little bit closer? Sorry.
I know, even if sometimes we go walk off the streets and you see people in the summer not wearing clothes and everything, and it's sort of a disturbing sight to see ourselves. It's just nice to see someone dressed nicely as well, and it's so
I mean, something that's you know,
so it should be encouraged to wear full clothing as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, being a Muslimah, alhamdulillah, and being a modest lady as well, I mean, we have to look at other aspects of modesty as well. It's just not covering up yourself. That's not just modesty, or your speech is not just modesty, your outer appearance is not just modesty. It's also other factors as well, like we should refrain from going to immodest places, or watching programs on TV that are immodest, or attract us towards immodesty. Not going to places where there's a lot of alcohol obviously is haram in Islam as well. So I mean, it's difficult in this situation that to protect ourselves from this immodest
sort of behavior,
environment as well. So we have to be very careful, and we have to be also responsible, a responsible adult or a young person. We have to take care of our modesty always, in every situation as well, because at the end of the day we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching us as well. So we have to fear him as well. So if we keep this in mind, obviously, alhamdulillah, we'll always be on the right path, alhamdulillah.
Absolutely, and inshallah, alhamdulillah. Sorry, Baji, you're also a mother of was it 2 daughters? I'm not sure. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. Just for the listeners out there, is there any sort of advice or personal experience that you could share, how they started on wearing the hijab, and your role as a parent, how you sort of helped them in that and supported them?
That's a very good question, actually. No one's asked me that one before. My daughters' names are Saman Batul, and Halima Sadia.
Subhanallah.
And I remember that I taught them to wear the scarf, the headscarf, and the abaya from a very young age, even when it wasn't even farz on them. When they used to go to madrasa, obviously the madrasa has a dress code as well. So I always dress them accordingly. So that's how they became more habitual, and they learned that this is the way that we have to live our life according to Islamic teachings as well.
Absolutely, yep. Just before you finish off, let's quickly take this call before they leave us.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
assalam. How are you,
calling? Alhamdulillah.
This is Aska speaking from London.
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Aska.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you all?
Alhamdulillah, we're doing great. How are you, Sister?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. I just wanted to appreciate you all, of course, because you're doing a great job. And there are a few sisters which I haven't seen on the show before. They're here for the first time, and mashallah, they're doing such a great job.
Absolutely.
So Baji Yasmin's made such good points as well, so that's great. And I think she's literally touched upon some crucial points that we really, really need to discuss. But I really wanted you to talk more about modesty and covering up on a bigger level, if you could. So you know how in media nowadays you see that people associate hijab with oppression. So I just want to see what your opinion is on that. It doesn't have to be accurate, of course, but just your way of understanding. So do you guys think, all of you, I want especially Hira, Sister Hira could say something as well. She hasn't said anything so far. So if she could just say, like, what does she think in terms of the oppression? Does hijab really oppress you? How do you feel when you put your hijab on? Do you feel oppressed, or do you feel like you've actually made a choice and it's your choice and it's not really oppression? So what's your opinion on that? What's your take on that, basically?
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay.
Thank you, Sister, for calling in.
Okay, and again, well done. And Sister Ikra, your hosting is really, really good. You know what? I did hear from somewhere that you were nervous, but you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you very much.
And of course, Khadija. I don't want to forget Khadija. She's the youngest, so she's really good.
Thank you. Jazakallah. Thank you for calling in, Sister, and hopefully we'll answer your question. Assalamu
no
alaikum.
worries.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
So, sorry, Sister, before the call came in, you were just finishing up on how you sort of...
Yeah, I mean, that's how I introduced my daughters.
Was there any sort of struggles that they went through? Was there any sort of no's, I feel...
There wasn't any rebellious behavior on their behalf. They just followed what I told them.
Mashallah,
Alhamdulillah. And up until now as well, they follow strict rules when they're going out and in surroundings that they should cover up as well.
Yep.
I feel as though a child seeing their parent also wear the hijab all the time has a major role in that as well. And I think them seeing you maybe wear the hijab, that would have had an impact and influence on them as well.
I mean, yeah, obviously, exactly. That's a good point. I mean, mother is the role model for our daughter anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
So whatever the mother is doing, the daughter will follow.
Will follow and copy,
and also getting taught from a young age, the person gets used to it.
Absolutely, yeah. I think starting off at that young age and slowly building it up as the child grows, because they sort of grow with that hijab, they grow with that, abaya, like for example the modest clothing, because like I said before, it is a responsibility, and just having that responsibility thrown at you at once is quite difficult. So growing with it is so much more easier, and the understanding explanation becomes clearer. Sister Azka's question, particularly for Sister Hera to answer, so like she said about the media and all this sort of stuff, what are your views on that?
I think the media makes it seem like the more skin you show, the better you look.
Yeah.
But according to Islam and stuff, it's better if you cover yourself, because you'll get less attention from all the men and stuff.
Yeah.
And also, some people wear the hijab, but they show their ankles and stuff. And I feel like they're disrespecting the hijab. And if we begin to teach people about like covering themselves along with wearing the hijab from a young age, then this won't happen in the future.
So just that's a really good point that you mentioned, showing ankles. It also comes into relation with fashion, because the media, of course, like you said, they say the more skin you're showing, the more appealing you look and all this sort of stuff. And I feel like the girls that do wear an abaya or a hijab, they may feel as though they're lacking the sort of fashion side of it, because you can't sort of make it look trendy or something. What are your guys' thoughts on that, and what sort of advice would you give people? Do you think fashion can still be a part of your modesty and hijab, or
Shaykhul Islam Dr. Muhammad Darul Qadri's statement is coming to my mind. It's a very powerful speech that he gave a couple of years ago at the Al Hidayah 3-day residential camp at Warwick University. I remember Sheikhul Islam said that don't let the dunya be in your heart.
Yes.
Live in the dunya.
Don't let the dunya live in you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's such a powerful statement, mashallah, and it's just stuck to my mind. I think that's one of the answers as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Having all this sort of influence of the media and the people around us, I think having that there, it sort of opens your mind a bit more and gives you a focus of why you're actually wearing the hijab. What about younger sisters? What sort of fashion advice would you give to someone wearing the hijab?
Back to Hira's point, I sort of disagree with the point about the media portraying people to show a lot of skin. I feel as though that is the case, but you see more people speaking out and more people. You see today, especially today, you see these hijab vloggers and these hijab stylists, etc. And you see the model as well in the hijab and the full abayas and scarves, and I think this is spreading more and more within society as well, and they have a massive influence on other people, and they encourage people, and you see these more especially on Instagram and like a higher and social media and stuff. You see these pages which are to the wider audience selling hijabs and abayas, which appeals to a wider audience as well, and you see this increase in people wanting to buy them. And I feel as though that links back to how people think that it's not like the hijab's very plain and you can't when being modest is you can't have fashion, whereas the both do link. You can dress modestly and be fashion. That's why I feel as though a lot of people, they take off the hijab, they feel as though it oppresses them. Back to Asghar's point, I don't think it oppresses an individual at all. If anything, you still have the same opportunities as someone who doesn't wear the hijab or doesn't dress modestly.
Absolutely. I mean, because nowadays I think you all know there's 100 different sort of styles of doing the hijab. I mean, we've got the turban style, I don't know, Arabic, Pakistanis. The way everyone does their hijab style is different. I mean, a lot of sisters here, we've got similar sort of styles, but they're still different. But at the end of the day, we're still covering ourselves. And I mean, you get them in different colors, different fabrics, different prints. So I feel like the fashion side of it is still there. I mean, when I go shopping for new abayas or a new hijab, I'm just spoiled with choice. There's just so many to choose from. I'm just like, what one do I choose? And I feel like in the same way, for example, when you can still have your other sort of culture. So, for example, if you want to wear Western sort of clothing or cultural Pakistani, Bengali sort of clothing, you're still able to do that because you're still able to match the matching hijab to it. And you know what? There's all these sort of things you can do to them.
Also within society, I feel as though they split the idea of modesty and Western very much. Whereas I think there was a recently, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was H&M who released a modest fashion.
The Eid collection.
Eid collection. But all the clothes, a lot of people saw all the clothes, they felt as though they were very similar to what they normally let out. And what they normally let out is Western clothes. But they were still modest. They didn't seem to be any different, which just shows how people have this mentality that modest fashion is this segregated idea to what we normally wear.
Yep, that's absolutely right.
But I mean, there's a comfort side to it as well. When you look at the Western culture, most of the women in summer now, they are wearing loose clothes. It doesn't matter if it's a shirt or a blouse, full sleeve blouse, or a trouser, a full length trouser. They're just wearing loose clothes because loose clothing is very comfortable. Especially in summertime. So in a way, we are not exposing the features of our body in any way when we're wearing these clothes by different designers or by different fashion outlets.
The minority of people are wearing the hijab in the summer and the heat. Over the past few days, I've seen people, and they're really wrapping the scarf around them loosely, so you can see a part of the hair. So it kind of defeats the purpose of the hijab completely.
I feel like wearing it properly and with the correct sort of way, and the fulfilling the responsibilities of it is also really important. So that's why it's also careful as well. I mean, when you're sort of going shopping or whatever, making sure that the style you're wearing your hijab in is also the correct way, and the sort of modest clothing you're wearing is modest.
That question links back to what Sister Zarvesha asked as well. She was saying how the hijab says to cover, not to wrap, and that's exactly what Islam teaches. It teaches you to cover your hair, and just doesn't teach you to physically get the hijab and put it on your head and just wrap it around your head and still be showing that hair. So I think that's a great point.
What sort of benefits would you guys say they are of wearing the hijab? So I know I have one. There's it sort of makes the soul become more calmer and peaceful. So it's when a young Muslim decides to veil herself with a hijab, it's an own sort of advantage, because you're, like Baji said, you're preventing yourself going into those sort of environments and those sort of situations which are not modest. So your soul yourself is just more calmer and more peaceful inside. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree, and is there any other benefits do you think they are?
One of the benefits of modesty is it can be used for protection. For example, the way you dress, it acts upon if people approach you or not.
Yeah.
And if people dress with a hijab but wear tight clothing, it's obviously going to attract the
wrong sort of crowd, the wrong sort of attention.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think that being modest and covering up or wearing a hijab is in any way concealing a young ladies or a young Muslima's beauty. In fact, or we don't have to, in that way, try hard to look beautiful, because it shows our beauty directly.
Absolutely,
and we also, instead of focusing on our outer appearance, we are more inclined on being the best person that we are that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does protect you, but when we associate protection, we normally associate it to physical protection. I feel as though it protects you, wearing the hijab protects you emotionally as well, because it lets people actually, even with like friends and stuff, it lets the person actually see you for your personality instead of your looks and stuff, which further in the future it prevents you from being hurt afterwards when someone has a fight or argument with you, and because the person you're surrounding yourself with is not actually liking you for your personality, they're liking you for your looks, which I think in turn that all just causes fights and arguments. So it's just nice to see that people actually accept you for your personalities.
I mean, in a way, it's also dangerous in this age for the past couple of years because of the issues of extremism.
Yeah, there's been a lot of incidents.
Being a hijabi has become a trouble actually for young women that have to go out by themselves as well. They are the easy and the soft targets. They have been abused. Unfortunately, there have been many incidents in our area as well. Young mothers have been ran over by cars as well.
That's horrible. Of course, it's devastating.
It's really scary. It's really scary.
It is scary. And it's sort of other females, other young girls, or even older women that sort of wear the hijab. It's sort of, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it does sort of scare you inside that, it's something that we wear for protection, but when we're outside, people are sort of attacking us, or it's not there anymore for.
It's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. I mean, there have been incidents where hijabis have been thrown on live tracks on the underground as well. They're being pushed from behind just to throw them on the live tracks.
I feel as though the hijab, which is and just covering your head, it's normally always associated with Muslims as well. But if you actually look at the history and the past behind it as well, you see that it was in Christianity as well. It was in Judaism as well. It was in all the Abrahamic faiths to wear the hijab, and the fact that it's just targeted towards Muslims is completely wrong. And there's this mentality that wearing the hijab and covering your head is completely wrong. Whereas people don't actually take into consideration that it was my religion actually taught this as well, and my religion taught me to wear the hijab as well. However, due to society and society becoming more secular, it has changed over time. So yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, if we look at Christianity as well, we are talking about modesty. The way they have portrayed Mary, the mother of Jesus, obviously we don't believe in it. We don't believe in the way they have made sculptures or paintings of her. But if you look closely, she is presented as a modest lady.
Yeah, absolutely. She
Isn't
is.
she?
Yeah, the clothing and the sort of appearance that they give. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. We're just going to go on a quick break. Please do stay tuned in, and hopefully we will carry on with this discussion after a short break. Assalamu alaikum.
You name it, they got it with the best prices in town.
Sorted! Looks like I'm going to this wedding in a Rangy then.
They'll drop off the car and pick you up once you're done. Just give them a ring on 01798 397 916 or visit them online spmhire.com or find them on Instagram.
Looking for meat and groceries? Look no further than Waris Food Store in Walthamstow. Visit the store to view our special Ramadan offers. 420 Hull Street, Walthamstow, E17 9AA. Or for free delivery, call us on 0208 521 0000. We have fresh deliveries of poultry and vegetables every day. Waris Food Store in Walthamstow.
Reliant Solicitors fight to protect your legal rights. Our firm offers a wide range of services including immigration, family law, commercial law, civil litigation, personal injury, landlord and tenant disputes and employment law. Visit us at 602A High Road, 7 Kings, Ilford, IG3 8BU or call 0207 183 5439. Reliant Solicitors, where every client matters.
Bridge & Solicitors in Ilford, the name you can trust. We provide services in immigration, family law, landlord and tenant matters, commercial leases and civil litigation. We also deal in personal injury claim and road traffic accidents. Call us on 0203 475 4545. Visit us at 170 Cranbrook Road, Ilford, IG1 4LX.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
Atlantic Distributions. Whether it is frozen fish, marinated Lahori masala fish, or lamb offals, we have them available at very competitive prices. We are wholesale suppliers to restaurants, butchers, and caterers. Visit us at 51 to 53 Upton Lane, London, E7 9PA. Contact us on 07415 474 185.
Usman needs the adhesive to work. If not, his day will be a disaster. Ah! So, Usman, if you really need something to bond, grab a tube of CT1 from your local stockist. An incredibly powerful sealant and construction adhesive that's fast, flexible and strong. It can be used anywhere, even underwater. For more info, ct1limited.com or follow us on Facebook or ring us on 0208 555 1448.
In an age of technological advancement, mass communication and social media, having the right website and app can be the difference that your business needs. AppSite Tech are here to take your business to the next level. No matter how simple or how sophisticated your requirements are, our technicians will work with you to create a bespoke website and app for your organisation. Call us now on 07538 8081212 or visit appsitetech.co.uk and book your free consultation now.
Amigos, the signature name when it comes to burgers and shakes. Our succulent burgers are prepared in front of you while you wait. Whether you go for the 6-ounce Mexican or the 10-ounce Texan, or you decide to go for our messy fries or buffalo wings, one thing you're guaranteed is quality. We've also got a range of desserts including our trademark shakes in all your favourite flavours. We're based at 400 Cranbrook Road in Gants Hill, so come down to dine in or order in on Uber Eats or Just Eat. Amigos, hats off to great burgers.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back to our show, students of Al Minhaj Institute. Just a quick reminder before we carry on with our discussion in regards to modesty and hiyya. Our donation hotline number is 07840551119. So if you would, just a reminder, if you would like to call in to donate money for the Ramadan FM, you please do so. And also, if you would like to be a part of our discussion, you can call in on the studio number, which is 0330116786. The studio number is 0330116786. So sorry, just coming back onto our discussion, was there a hadith or something that you wanted to mention, Sister Hera?
I wanted to mention a hadith that says, "Indeed, from the teachings of the first prophet which has reached you is, if you do not have shyness, then do as you please." This shows us that modesty is like a vital aspect and it's needed in everyone's life.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree with that. Subhanallah, that's a fantastic quote that you've shared with us. Is there any other sort of benefits that you sisters would say
there is? Hira's point as well, I feel as though Islam is a religion of simplicity and humility as well, to teach one, and modesty is normally associated with shyness, and I feel as though all of those aspects help an individual to acts prevention from sin, and it just being shy of something that you have done as well, it makes you feel ashamed of it, and it makes you not want to do it again. So in turn, modesty acts as a mechanism to prevent you from sinning as well, and not only with sins as in that as well, it prevents you from sinning in with other people, with other individuals as well, because as I've said before, hijab means barrier, and it acts as a barrier to prevent you from being sinful with other people.
Absolutely, yeah.
Coming back to Hira, she told us about a very beautiful hadith. This hadith is also mentioned in Al-Bukhari, where it says the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has said, "Indeed, from the teachings of the first prophets which has reached you, if you do not have shyness, then do as you please." This is mentioned in Al-Bukhari.
Yep, absolutely, yeah. MashaAllah, subhanallah. Sorry, sister, was there any other sort of benefits that you thought they are to wearing the hijab or being modest?
Basically, being modest is also being moderate as well, I believe, and we do not have to resort to becoming an extremist or an extremism involved in an extremism act. We always keep everything in the right dosage. If we are moderate and we are modest at the same time.
Absolutely. I've heard that wearing the hijab, it's sort of seen to be as a good candidate of being a mother as well as a wife. What are your sort of views on that? Do you guys agree, or do you guys think no, not really?
I agree with that, actually. Ikra, sister, what happens is nowadays people are looking out for role models, for daughter-in-laws for their sons as well, and they obviously they look at the dress up of a young lady, a potential young lady.
I feel like that's the first sort of thing that's seen, the appearance, and then they move on to
the character,
which should be done the other way around. I personally believe, but that's how it's seen.
They first look at the outer appearance of a young lady, if she's modest, and then afterwards when they approach her or her family, then they become aware of her personality
and her inner beauty
as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Do you guys agree?
I agree with when you said about a mother, because if a mother wears her hijab, just as I've said before, should have that same influence on her children as well.
Yeah.
And you learn how children learn through primary socialization as well, and everything that they learn is based on the surroundings, every tiny little thing you learn. Like you see these videos and everything of little kids trying to copy their parents pray the namaz, trying to copy their parents doing small little actions. But if the parent just wore the hijab, then the child will automatically see this as a norm within the household, and the child would automatically normally want to wear the hijab. She wouldn't see anything or wrong with in doing so. So yeah, it's easy to incorporate within your life as well.
Also, linking back to Sister Khadija's point earlier about shyness, I think people misinterpret the word shyness and don't believe that if a person's completely like quiet and stuff, then they're modest. But I believe it's not so.
I mean, because we have got quite we've got MPs, we've got people that are doctors, lawyers, and that takes a lot of courage and not shyness to have that role. So I think that is a sort of misunderstood sort of
but concept. I think shyness is different to being confident. It shouldn't, if a person is shy but they can't say anything, I mean, what's the point of it? They have to be confident as well at the same time.
I mean, the shyness sort of concept when it comes to hijab and modesty is sort of different. Not shyness is not sort of putting that barrier in front of you and closing yourself down. It's still being open and participating in and taking all these opportunities you have, but sort of shyness in the way of shyness from these haram acts or something which is forbidden in Islam. That sort of shyness.
The shyness is normally associated with the tongue and being quiet and not being able to speak, whereas shyness, from what I interpreted from that, was shyness within actions and being shy to commit sin and being shy to do something wrong, because that's the main thing that will prevent an individual from committing sin as well. So shyness acts as that barrier.
And the way you portray yourself.
I have a hadith of modesty. It's from Sahih Bukhari and Al-Muslim, where Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has said that modesty is part of faith. It's part of faith.
Absolutely, it is part of your faith. Sorry to cut that short there. Unfortunately, it's come to the end of our show. I hope the listeners have enjoyed tuning in and listening to our discussion. We are still students and we are still learning. So if we did say anything wrong or which may have offended anyone, we do apologize. But hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to our conversation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.